The bad and the ugly side of Indonesia you never hear about. When it comes to the topic of Indonesia, you might be left thinking about its beautiful beaches, lush rainforests, and plenty of exotic islands. When hearing about this island nation in Southeast Asia, we all imagine a place full of opportunities for visitors and investors alike. But do you know that there is an ugly side to Indonesia as well? With more than 260 million people living on this 17,000 island archipelago, there are bound to be some problems facing this country. In fact, there are a number of issues that threaten to undermine the potential for growth throughout the country. Let's take a look at the ugly side of Indonesia that many people don't know about. 1. Poverty and income disparity. The first issue that we will discuss is poverty and income disparity. According to the CIA World Factbook, roughly 10% of Indonesians live below the poverty line. This is a significant number, especially since the poverty rate in Southeast Asia is lower than the global average. Income disparity is a major issue in Indonesia. The richest 10% of the population control more than 50% of the country's wealth, while the bottom 40% control less than 1%. This means that the rich are very rich and the poor are very poor. This issue is mostly due to the fact that Indonesia's economy is largely controlled by the government and the military. Due to crony capitalism and corruption, the richest people in the country have access to special government contracts and favorable laws that keep them at the top. 2. Human rights issues. Human rights issues are a serious concern in Indonesia. The country has been criticized by many international organizations, including Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. The government has been accused of violating the rights of women, ethnic minorities, and LGBT people. Women, for example, earn less than men and are often not given equal opportunities in the workplace. In addition, LGBT people in Indonesia are also subject to discrimination. Same-sex relationships are illegal in the country and homosexual acts are often punished with harsh prison sentences. Similarly, ethnic minorities have struggled to receive equal rights in Indonesia. This is especially true for people in the Papua region, who have been fighting for independence from the rest of the country for decades. 3. Women's rights in Indonesia. The fact that women earn less than men is only one issue, among many that tie into women's rights in Indonesia. Even though Indonesian law prohibits discrimination based on gender, there is a strong cultural stigma against women in the country. This is evident in the society's treatment of women in the workplace. Women earn less than men, are given fewer opportunities for advancement, and are often pushed into less important positions. This is not only unfair, but also has negative ramifications for the economy as a whole. If women are not treated equally, then they will not be able to contribute to their full potential. 4. Child labor and slavery in Indonesia. There are many positive aspects to the Indonesian economy, such as a growing middle class and a low unemployment rate. However, there is also a very negative side to this. According to the International Labour Organization, there are an estimated 5 million child workers in Indonesia. The government has been slow to address the issue of child labor and child slavery in the country. The ILO estimates that 800,000 children are forced into slavery. This is a serious issue that is not being addressed fast enough by the government. This is also a problem that extends beyond the borders of Indonesia. The country is a major exporter of clothing and other goods, which means that child labor is being imported into other countries. 5. Corruption in Indonesia. Corruption is a major issue in Indonesia. In fact, the country is consistently ranked as one of the most corrupt nations in the world. Corruption is prevalent in almost every sector of society, from local government to the military and religious leadership. Indonesia ranks 128th out of 180 countries on the Corruption Perceptions Index. The country has received many warnings from the international community that it must do more to combat corruption or risk losing foreign investment. 6. Lack of infrastructure. Indonesia has been slow to develop its infrastructure, which includes things such as roads, railways, ports, and telecommunication systems. Indonesia was greatly affected by the Asian financial crisis of 1997, which resulted in a reduced government budget and little money for infrastructure. As a result, the country's transportation network is quite poor. This is especially true for the railway system, which is outdated and inefficient. There are plans to build new railways, but they are expected to take several years to complete. 7. Poor working conditions. Indonesia has a reputation for being a good place to do business. However, this has led to a few organizations that are not actually following the rules. There are many factories that employ underage workers, do not pay minimum wage, and have inadequate safety standards. This is a serious issue, because it puts many people at risk, and also undermines the country's reputation as a place to do business. There have been some efforts to address this problem, and improve working conditions in Indonesia, but they have been slow to produce results. 8. Slavery and abuse of orphans. As we have discussed throughout this video, Indonesia has a serious problem with human trafficking. This includes the trafficking of children, who are separated from their families, and forced into dangerous working conditions. However, it also includes the trafficking of children for adoption. Indonesia has been called the deadliest place in the world to be an infant. This is because many babies in the country are either not wanted or unwanted. This has led to a troubling situation, in which baby trafficking is common, and the government has been criticized for failing to address the situation. 9. The juvenile justice system. The criminal justice system in Indonesia is highly controversial. The country is one of the only ones in the world that has a minimum age of criminal responsibility of 9 years old. This means that children under the age of 9 can be charged with a crime and put in prison. While Indonesia has passed laws that require all juveniles to go to rehabilitation centers instead of prison, the government has not actually enforced them. There have also been reports that these government-run rehabilitation centers are abusive. 10. Environmental disaster. The environment is a serious issue in Indonesia. The country is one of the most biodiverse places in the world, but that biodiversity is slowly disappearing due to deforestation. This is a serious problem, because deforestation is also leading to flooding, landslides, and other natural disasters. If you are thinking about investing in Indonesia or traveling there for vacation, then it is important to be aware of these issues. It is also important to support organizations that are working to solve these problems and protect the people and the environment in the country. The bottom line. Overall, Indonesia is a beautiful place with many positive aspects. However, the government and the people must work together to solve the country's most pressing issues. If they do so, then there is great potential for growth and prosperity for the country as a whole. If you love this type of videos, please subscribe to our channel, like and share this video with your friends, then hit the notification bell, that way you won't miss any of our future videos. Thank you.